And a happy Friday. It's the final show of the week. It is Red Sox Now, presented by Fan Arch here on YouTube. I'm your host, Mike Antonellis, one of the radio and TV broadcasters. That's what I do. Of the Woo Sox, I will be there this weekend. Excited because on Saturday, the Woo Sox will see Shane Bieber in a Major League rehab assignment for Buffalo. Now, in all of the years calling minor league baseball, and I can't think of the last deadline trade that involved a player injured that was still on a rehab. Usually, if you see that, they're injured and they haven't thrown yet. So Bieber was in the middle of doing his rehab with the Cleveland system, and now it's transferred over. So that will be pretty cool to see, but I know all of you are chomping at the bit because on Monday you're going to want reports on Peyton Tolley. He's making his AAA debut on Sunday, so we will certainly do that. Expect to see David Sandlin again in relief because those are good things. Those are exciting things that we're all talking about and that we're all really excited about. We're excited about the Red Sox team, but before we go any further, you know the drill. If you could subscribe, leave your amazing comments. They've been fantastic this week. I think I got to all of them. If I did not, I apologize. If you see the Red Sox Now icon responding, that is our team responding to you as well. They are fantastic. Treat them with kid gloves. Be very kind. I know you will. But yeah, if you could do that, subscribe, because we still have a lot more views than some. Well, at times, the subscribers are going up, what we love. But if you could take the time, we appreciate it. And thank you for the love, guys and gals, as well. It means a lot, really does. So I want to go back to something I talked about. Red Sox started 3-game series in Santiago. I can only think of Will Ferrell and Anchorman and Don Orsillo. Very good home team. But when I was talking about the schedule earlier this year, and I know that, and it's fine, I know people don't like it, but I do for this reason. You have two wild card teams. You have two teams who are trying to still win the division. Believe it or not, San Diego's only 2 games out. You know, as much as we talk about the Dodgers, this Padres team, I don't know, are they going under the radar? Maybe. You know, I feel like it's still about the Mets a lot. Big market, the Cubs. I don't think Milwaukee's under-talked. I think Philly's talked a lot. The markets, but San Diego's an interesting team to me. They are, because they do have good pitching. They made some good moves. That is certainly a team that could get to the World Series. I really think anybody could get to the World Series in the NL. I think it's wide open. As good as the Dodgers are, San Diego's really good. And I like that Interleague brings us this kind of matchup because these games are important. That's the difference now. With playing everyone, you're going to play better teams just by default. By playing everyone, you have to play all the playoff teams. So I think that's why some of maybe the 100-win teams won't happen anymore. But I love that you have 2 playoff teams that are still fighting. You know, the Mets are a 3.5-game lead over Cincinnati. That is getting close to being over, where in the NL, they're just fighting for seeding and someone potentially grabbing the division, because I don't think San Fran at 5 and St. Louis at 5.5 back are in it. Right now 7 spots. Over in the AL, though, Cleveland and Texas 1.5 games behind the Yankees. They are still holding on. But I really like that you have these two. It's an unbelievable pitching matchup. It is a strange pitching matchup because maybe they should have kept Nick Pivetta. Right? You know, when we think about it, what was wrong with my whole thing with some of the moves they made, the pitching's been weird because they've had starters here that proved they could pitch here. And you can look at it and go, well, Pivetta had a high ERA. He was 6-12 last year with a 4.14 ERA. But if you were looking at him to be a lower part of your rotation, that's fine for a 4 or 5 guy. But what a year he's having. 11-3 with a 2.73 ERA. I just really liked him, his whole bulldog mentality. And it's ironic because basically the guy that you replaced them with is pitching against them. Walker Buehler, 6-6 with a 5.74 ERA and 71 strikeouts. But Nick Pivetta has been unbelievable. This Padres club is good. They added Ryan O'Hearn, Machado, Tatis, Luis Arraez, Bogarts, Jose Iglesias. I was listening to some of their game. Iglesias knocked in Bogarts. It brought back memories. If you're looking for any history, too, Fernando Tatis has hit 4 homers in 27 at-bats against Nick Pivetta. So I always find those intriguing. You can only put so much stock into it, but that's a pretty high sample size. But this is a big series. And like I've talked about before, and I think we all agree, the way the road works, that's a good home team. 36-19 are the Padres. The Red Sox on the road, 25-30, not bad considering. But this is going to be a grind. And if they come out of it 3-3 or even 2-4, I know that's setting a low bar. I would actually take that because you go from here to Houston. I know you swept Houston, but it's going to be on the road. So those games are going to be tough. The good thing about this series is you have Giolito tomorrow and you have Bayo on Sunday. And then I believe on Monday in Houston, that will be the guy that we absolutely love. We don't know yet. They haven't announced it, but it's Crochet is going to be in the next series. That we know. So what are your expectations? Are you setting a higher bar? Am I too low? Even 2-4. I don't want to see 1-5, but I take 2 wins. Perspective. Still looking at the 90 wins. You have to go 26-20 the rest of the way. Can you believe that we only have 46 games left? 90 wins is a good year for the Red Sox. If they get 90 and don't make the playoffs, then I don't know. I'm sure people will be really mad, really disappointed, but I don't think anyone picked this team to win 90. I don't know what the Vegas over-under. I have to think it was in the 80s. There's no way it was 89.5. I think it was probably 84, 85. I'm sure someone will have that for me right away. I'm sure. So, are you still concerned about the back end? I am. And it's not just because of Dustin May's performance. It's because really you have 2 question marks on a team that you hope and is right now a playoff team. When the 4 and 5 guys pitch, how do you feel? Like tonight, are you worried that this could be a blow-up game? I am. Yeah, absolutely. So, where do we go from here? Someone has to step up. It has to be Buehler. Right? This is the guy you paid money for. This is the guy that initially you offered 3 years for. He actually doesn't have a great track record in the last 38, 39 starts. But if this is another 3 or 4 inning outing tonight from a back end, yeah, at some point, I think they would put Walker Buehler on the injured list. And I do think there's internal candidates. I know people are crazy over Cooper Criswell over 1 start. I don't even, and part of me, I don't even see a problem with that. To go up to the big leagues and I think that's a pretty big accomplishment against the Astros and the way he threw the ball. Then he came back down. He only went 4 innings the other day. That's got to be so hard to do after you're in the big leagues. Kyle Harrison was really good yesterday. I wasn't there. I watched the whole game. They're working on a kick change. They've changed his whole grip. That's been better, but his fastball looked good. He's left-handed. That could be an option, but I really like Tyler Uberstein. That's the guy I really like. He went 4 innings in relief. He piggybacked Harrison. He struck out 8, maybe as a reliever. I don't know what they're doing with him. He went 1 inning his last outing. He went 4 yesterday. So that's trying to keep him stretched out, but I'm telling you, put that name on your radar. He's not a top prospect. He's Rule 5 eligible. I think he would get Rule 5, to be honest. I really do. In one of the phases, I definitely think, I don't know if he'd be protected, but Criswell, Harrison, Uberstein, Tolley, I don't know if he's an option to start. He hasn't been throwing a lot of innings. We'll see Sunday how long he goes. And then, if we're talking relievers, Tolley, Sandlin, and Birdie, and we'll get to that. But I feel like your internal options are things change so quickly. Like Cooper Criswell was not on anyone's radar. And then all of a sudden, that game against Houston, and you're, okay. And then Harrison's gotten better. All right. And then Tyler Uberstein, which I do think he could start up there. I really like him. He pitches a lot like Michael Walker with a little better fastball. He is like the throwback, and there's still, room for that. So I am still concerned. And, I know they're winning, but you can't have a black hole 4-5 for a number of reasons. To win games, but we don't want the bullpen throwing 4 to 5 innings on the back end a lot. That can't happen. And maybe to compensate that with Sandlin, I think will be a one-inning guy. So maybe Tyler Uberstein or maybe Harrison, maybe those guys are a bulk row, and they line them up on these days. Because for right now, you've been killing your bullpen on these 2 days. So let's hope that this can start something, and stranger things that can happen, right? Criswell was not anyone's radar. Buehler's not really on anyone's radar, but he's got the pedigree and the experience. And, let's see if that can step it up. I talked about this yesterday, and I still wanted to talk about it today because I thought about it. And we got some comments about Vasquez and other catchers, and could they have done that? And some people we talked about that position, having a lot of depth at that position. And someone made a great point, the Seattle with Garver, Raleigh, and a Ford. Yeah, there isn't many. But yeah, the more I thought about it, overnight, that is a concerning issue. And if an injured list stint was to be had, yeah, Wong would be the guy. And I know we're down on him. And I think you could continue to be that way if he gets a chance to play every day and still is really bad at the plate. I still think part of his struggles is that young players do not respond well not playing. It's just too hard to go from what he's gone through. And he had that finger injury, and he's talked about some things. It's just kind of been a weird year for him. But we'll see. And if he's the one, I think Chadwick Tromp would be the guy that would be called up. Maybe. Savala's pretty good defensively. Those are the two reserves in AAA. I mean, it's not great, but again, like I've said before, you don't have a lot of wiggle room with that position at times. But yeah, I've thought about it. I kind of woke up this morning thinking, like, is this Narvaez's injury a lot more serious than we thought? And I think it is. I mentioned this yesterday, but I just can't get over the American League. I didn't think at this point we would still have teams hanging around. And what are your thoughts? Is Tampa Bay still a threat? 4.5 behind the Yankees. That's a lot. Kansas City 4. But Cleveland and Texas, I don't know what it is about. Cleveland got rid of Shane Bieber. Maybe the whole Texas thing is because of what happened a few years ago with them getting to the World Series, but it's just still weird that those teams are kind of hanging around. And let me look at the schedule here. The Red Sox do have Cleveland at home. They do have. See, that's why I like this schedule. And how much do we change perspective on a schedule based on how the teams are playing now? What are your thoughts on Miami now? Pitching's really good. And I know you have them at home, but none of these are like gimmies. you get San Diego, Houston on the road, then Miami and Baltimore. Baltimore's been swinging a little at the Yankees, at Baltimore, Pittsburgh. Then you have Cleveland, at Arizona, at Athletics. I'm really looking ahead. Yankees, but I can't believe how you finished the season. Have you looked at this? At Toronto, home against Detroit. So it could come down to the top 3 teams in the American League all play each other to end the season. That would be something else. As are your comments from Thursday. They were terrific. We talked a lot about Roman Anthony. I wanted to throw this out too. Everyone's got their opinion and whatever. It's ridiculous. And Lou Merlone even said, if you know anything about contracts, he's going to make his money. If Mookie would have got in 2014, if they committed to Mookie and gave him $85 to $90 million for 8 years, he would have been a free agent, I think, after 21. What do you think Mookie would have gotten after that? Would he got 300? If he put up those numbers, making 80-something million dollars, would he have gotten $300 to $400 million? Probably. So he probably would have still made what he's made anyways. Almost a wash. So, because if Roman Anthony does what he does, that next deal is going to be ridiculous. Let's get to your comments at Lenny Bruce Lee. That's a good one. I just saw the Crow was on the other day. That was with his son, right? It's like the Red Sox are taking a page out of the Belichick era MLB equivalent approach of trying to build a dynasty with reasonable contracts. We have already witnessed the ugliness of the back end of these mega contracts. It's wiser to pay these players on the up than overpay for them on the decline. I said that years ago. I really did. I'm not trying to be and this wasn't this wasn't an out of the box idea. We all kind of knew, like, that's why the minimum went up, because it was what happened in the game of baseball. And I tried to talk about this yesterday, and I'll for those who didn't, a lot of us look back at a lot of history and go, well, look at what the Red Sox used to spend. Like, they go back to 04 and 07, and I get all that, where you were the top, but the younger player is better now, right? So, like, when we look at, people are obsessed where the Red Sox are ranked spending. Okay, I take every situation with some gray. That's okay to do that and say, and question that. But look at how many players are impacting your team that aren't making a lot of money. It's like 15. That's all I care about. Jarren Duran is not a $3 million player. I think he's making he's a $20, $25 million player. He's just not making that. Right? You have guys on your team that got there quicker that are playing like $20 million guys. So who cares if they didn't go out? Like I get all this all. If that's fine, then tell me what you would have done differently. Right? You could have spent $20 million on a solid, like Sean Murphy. If I had asked people in the offseason, would you want Sean Murphy or Carlos Narvaez? All of you would have said Sean Murphy. That would have been a $60 to $70 million contract. Is he playing close to that of Narvaez making $474? Do you see, like, with building a team, you don't have to go crazy? The game has changed now. I grew up, never saw this. I didn't see, but I saw this coming when I was working in Portland. I said, oh, wow. Here's how we saw it. Guys weren't spending any time in the minors. I mean, totally, this is his first year. He's already in AAA. AAA is so young now. The guys are going through the system. Everybody's doing this. So, naturally, if more young players are playing less in the minors, you're going to have smaller payrolls. You can still win that way. I think the old way, I agree with. It made sense spending. Now, could they spend more? Yeah, of course. Yeah, I understand that. But I think they've made that commitment. We're getting to $500 million now with the offseason and the in-season signings. That's a lot of money. And if you hear anywhere that they're operating like a small market team, that really could be the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Small market teams don't spend any money. If you're saying the Red Sox operate like Miami and Oakland, or you're reaching for something and you're trying to be, that doesn't make any sense. If you want to say that they're running it more like a mid-level team, that's fine. I honestly don't care what other teams are doing. I really don't. I just care about them winning. I don't care about, I don't look at, everything is different. And to your point, Lenny Bruce Lee, if I must repeat that again, like I said yesterday, when you're in this system, you negotiate completely different. If Mookie was a Brave, he probably takes less money. But when you're negotiating with one of the big clubs, you should ask for more money. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just giving you the facts on how it works. If you're a player in the Dodgers system, you're going to go crazy because these guys spend money relentlessly. But I ultimately don't care where they rank spending as long as you win. And there's no guarantee that now Bregman, Chapman, some of the guys that are making a lot of money. Story. Now Walker Buehler makes $21 million. Do you think you could have found someone making league minimum that could have done with that? To each, every situation to me is different. Duran makes almost $4 million, so I was wrong. But let's look at this. You have Roman Anthony, Dustin May, Chris Murphy, Narvaez, Romy, Weissert, Abreu, Wong, Toro are all making $800,000 or less. And, at one time that didn't work. But yes, signing and making commitment to a core is something they wouldn't do before. And to your point, that didn't make any sense to me. I didn't understand that. I'm like, I was all for signing Mookie in 2014 because I was with him. I knew he was going to. Mookie and Roman Anthony are similar to me. We all knew Mookie was going to be a star. We really did. We said Mookie's going to be a Hall of Famer. We were overbearing and annoying about it. And yes, I will criticize him for that. That was a mistake because we knew that was going to turn into that. You were going to lose him. So yeah, do this now. I completely agree. I love it. At Scott Chalmers, 5,200. Mike, AAA pitcher that could move to the bullpen. Think he'll call up to help. Samlin. Yep, it's Samlin. Yeah, the plan is to make him a multi-inning guy. That's what our manager told us, Chad Tracy, in his pregame scruff. I think personally it's going to be one. I could be wrong. It's just what I think. 33 pitches the other night. That's not really a multi-inning guy, but that's where they capped it. He hit 98 with his fastball, four-seamer, changeup, little sink. He's got a slider as well. And I think that smells one inning to me. It really does. He's stretched out enough, but I really think that he could be a special one-inning guy. Yeah. I think he's going to be part of that bullpen at some point. And at Tubester9, this is a group one. This is to help Tubester9, everybody. This is your job. We got to help him. He's going to be in San Diego. He wants to know the best Red Sox hang out in San Diego. So if we have anybody that lives in San Diego watching, we got people everywhere watching, which is so cool. Help Tubester9. Tell them where to hang out in San Diego, and that's how we'll end the week on a great week of shows of Red Sox Now presented by Fan Arch. I'm Mike Antonellis. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments. Enjoy the weekend. We'll talk all about this Red Sox Padres series on Monday. I can't wait. Go Red Sox. So long, everyone.